everyone, TeriGigi here. I'm here today to do a requested video that has been requested for probably 2 years to talk about moving and how you cope moving and all those kinds of things that happen when you make a big move. I am an expert, so I have a lot to share, so I hope you stick with me during this video. Welcome to anyone that's new. Again, I'm TeriGigi, and I'll hope you stick around and subscribe. Okay, today we're going to talk about moving. I am an expert, as I said. In the beginning of Scott and I's marriage, the first half of our marriage, we moved a lot. The second half of our marriage, once we got to Florida, we stayed put. And then we just moved, so that was like 17 years, and we just moved back to Texas a year and a half ago. So I have a lot of experience moving and just a lot I can tell you about it. The number one thing I want to say, now most of this is if you're moving, not exactly by choice, maybe it's a job, maybe your job, your husband's job, whatever. The number one advice I would give you first is don't panic. The one thing that I can assure you, no matter where you're moving, it will work out. But it is all about your attitude and how you look at it, and you just have to decide to be happy about it. And you have to decide that it's going to be wonderful and a big chance for you to grow and change and have a new home and all those kinds of things. Make new friends, all those kinds of things. It's all about attitude. I can tell you that hands down. That's the number one most important thing. I have moved from places that I loved. When I left Tampa, Florida, it is still very difficult. I would go back there in a heartbeat, although sometimes I wonder if I've romanticized it now, but my heart is at the beach and I'm nowhere near a decent beach. So anyway, so I have moved from places that I've really loved, and I've moved to somewhere I was really excited about. Like when I moved to Tampa all those years ago, I was really, really excited. And yes, my bangs need to be trimmed. You have to ignore that. I was so excited, but it was a big move. It was tough and all that stuff. So here's a few tips if you're thinking or planning or about to move. Number one, be very, very excited that you're moving in today's times, because with the internet, that makes everything so much easier, from searching out real estate to looking at the area, schools, churches, everything, price range, prices, taxes, everything. You can look it up online. So you can go with an open mind when you if you're going to buy a house there, you can set your price range, but very important to look at the tax structure of that state and of that area and of the school taxes and all that kind of stuff, because that can drastically change across the United States anyway. That can change drastically. Like our taxes went way down when we moved to Texas. My particular area of Texas, my parents moved to Dripping Springs, and their taxes, I think they more than doubled. I mean, out of control, okay? So don't forget to do your due diligence when you're moving. Before you accept a new job or any of that, check all that so that you can have it in your brain what you're getting into, because it can be so different from where you live, and you don't really think that because it's still in the United States, right? Of course, you know that if you're like moving to California, but other states you might not know that, okay? As far as finding a real estate agent, I would suggest that you ask at your new job if anybody there has a suggestion. You could ask the real estate agent that you've employed to sell your home where you're at to give you a referral in the other town. And sometimes they'll work together, and they can give you maybe a break on some of the fees and stuff. At least that's what happened to us when we moved here. Let's see. Oh, a fun thing to do that I did when I was sitting in Tampa, knowing I was moving here, and I was trying to get myself excited, trying to get myself thinking I can do this, okay. I would look online. In fact, the place that we live now that we love, our townhome, I found that myself. My real estate agent did not find that. And let me tell you this too. I looked at homes online in this area, and I knew this area of Houston. We're northwest of Houston. I knew this area because I had lived here before, and I grew up about 10, 15 miles from here. But it's completely different than when I was here in, growing up from about 9 years old. Don't get depressed when you're looking. You'll find a place. But sometimes when you're online and you're looking, you can get an idea, but you can get so depressed. So many of the homes here, we wanted to downsize. There were no nice, smaller homes. They were all huge. Texas, everything's bigger. Well, the homes are all huge out here, and we didn't want that. So we wanted to go down a little bit lower in our price range. And when we went down lower in our price range, we were still looking at huge homes, so they were like disasters, like from 1970, and they had not been updated. I'm not kidding you. So anyway, don't panic, keep looking. Something will turn up. I promise you, it has happened for me every single time. And of course, once you kind of think you found an area that you want to live in, or even a home, of course, go visit in person. Don't just let your husband pick it out. You need to go visit. When I found this place online in Florida, I called Scott here in Houston to come here and look at it. And he flew me out the very next day because he thought it was great. I thought it was great online, and so we needed to see it the next day because there weren't but 2 left. So we needed to make a decision. Drive the area all around the home. Look at Google Earth and see what's all around the house that you think you might want, or the neighborhood you might want. Look around it. You might be surprised what's just right outside, a mile down the road or 2 miles down the road that you don't know. When you're in a new city, you're just kind of shell-shocked, and you just kind of, just trust me on that. Location. I asked my husband today or yesterday, I said, I'm going to do a video on moving. What would be your number one piece of advice? Or what would you say is a good thing about moving? And the first thing out of his mouth, he said, it is the best opportunity to declutter. It is so true. If you're about to move, declutter. It's fantastic. You don't want to pay to move things you don't want. You don't want to keep moving boxes that you've never opened over the years. Decluttering is a major part of moving, and it's a good part of moving. I decluttered so much, but I still had more to get rid of once I got here, because it's really hard to know if your furniture's going to fit. That's another thing. Your furniture and everything, even if you measure, have house plans, everything will be different when you get in the physical location. Yeah, your couch might fit on that wall, but once you're in there and you put your coffee table and a side chair, it doesn't always, translate into real life. So just be flexible. That's another thing. Be flexible. And don't think you have to get everything fixed immediately. A couple of ideas of when you move. Oh, here's a good one. Do not underestimate the time that it takes moving, packing, unpacking, whatever. And do not underestimate the stress. I think if you go into it knowing this is going to be stressful, it's okay, it's going to be overwhelming. It is the most overwhelming thing in the world to me. And I've done it so many times you'd think I'd be an old hand at it. It is so overwhelming when you're in it. But you will get to the other side. You will. But at the time, maybe it's just me, but it's overwhelming to pack everything you own. Even, I thought I've decluttered so much, Scott's going to take us 1 week tops, we're going to have that place unpacked. No way. First of all, he was working about 12 hours a day at his new job. So I unpacked 90% of this house. Now remember, this is after I helped my mom pack and unpack. This is after I helped my daughter. This is before I unpacked a bunch of my daughter's stuff. Anyway, it's overwhelming. So don't underestimate, be ready. Now, a great piece of advice my mom gave me is as soon as you get to a new location, fix up one room and don't have any boxes in it. That would usually be your family room. Set up your couch, your TV, a lamp, a side table, a coffee table, a chair. Get it set up and put all the boxes somewhere else. Don't put boxes right around there. So when you come and sit down in the evening and you're going to eat a burger from, Whataburger down the street, You are going to be in a peaceful area where you're not looking at boxes. Like right here, the boxes were right behind the couch, but when we sat down at night to relax, him having worked all day and me having had unpacked all day, we had a nice place to go. Also, your bedroom, get that fixed up as quickly as possible too, and try not to have too many boxes in there if you can help it, so that you can have a peaceful night's sleep every night and have a restful spot there as well. Take a lot of breaks when you're unpacking. I already said, don't expect everything to fit. One quick little tip. In Florida, a lot of the homes have what they call pot shelves or plant shelves in your kitchens and everything. And you put stuff up there and it's all cute and decorative. When you take that stuff down, it is so gross and filthy because I didn't climb, I mean, they're tall, they're way up. I didn't climb up there to clean those things like every 6 months or anything, believe me. So I would suggest clean frames, your picture frames, knickknacks, give them a really good cleaning as you're packing. And then when you get to where you're going and you're overwhelmed, you can unpack them and put them in there clean. I think cleaning before you move is a great idea. Now, when you move and you're there, don't expect yourselves to love it immediately unless you're moving somewhere great, which there's a lot of great places, but there's a lot of normal places that you're just like, why am I here, you know? Don't constantly compare. Don't constantly compare the people, the prices, the grocery stores, all that stuff, because it just puts you kind of in a negative mood, because probably you're comparing it and saying it's not as good as where you came from, because there's so much comfort in familiarity and you don't have that when you move. So, you know, if you're not moving to the beach, I don't know what to tell you. No, I'm kidding. Okay, here's a big one. When you move into a house, now this was brand new, so I didn't have to do this. But when you move into a house that someone's lived in before, I think it's very important to remove their aura and move your aura in. And the way to do that is, even if they've cleaned it before you come in, you know, remop the floors with your own stuff that you're used to the smell. Maybe use Pine Sol or something flowery, whatever you mop with. Remop the floors. If the carpets were not freshly cleaned, get your carpets cleaned if you can right before you move in. Spray, what's that stuff called? Febreze all over the carpets, over any soft surfaces. Spray Febreze and it kind of, you know, cleanses the air. Paint is a great way to have a place smell new and fresh. Clean everything you can, oil the cabinets, just whatever you can do to make it yours, to put your spin on it, your touches on it, and make it your own. I mean, it's amazing how quickly it becomes your own, but not if you move in and it doesn't smell right and all that kind of stuff. You gotta fix that. You gotta fix that, okay? Something that happened to me one time, Scott and I moved into a rent home in Houston a long time ago, years ago, and it wasn't a very good place, but we didn't have a choice, and we were going to buy a house out in this area, and we were going to rent for a year and then decide where to buy, right? So we moved out there, and it was an old home. It was not nice. It was terrible, y'all. It was terrible. And there were a few things that were such eyesores that this was one of our bad moves, okay? But there was this is how I got over it. This is, first of all, I decided I had to get over it. We had rented it. My husband rented it without me, just saying. And most men don't look at things the same way the woman does, especially one that's a stay-at-home mom who's there 24/7. I know what I need to be happy, sort of. But anyway, there was this horrible yellow gold puke colored light fixture in the kitchen, in the dining area, which was like this, that was it. It was a breakfast nook, really. It wasn't even a dining room. It wasn't a dining room at all. It was a breakfast nook. And this big window by the breakfast nook, I was going to tell you what it had a view of, and I'm not going to tell you. It's too horrible. had these old Venetian metal blinds. Remember the old, if you're old like me, the old fat ones, and they had yellow. Nothing was ever going to clean those. And I looked at those things for about a week as I was unpacking and crying and trying to look happy in front of my children. I said, Scott, get that light fixture down and call the people we rented from and tell them that those blinds are broken and they need to be replaced. And he's like, yes, ma'am. I mean, he knew, okay? I took that metal light fixture that was over the lights outside. I spray painted it bright glossy white. We hung it back up. We got new mini blinds, and it changed the whole dynamic of that area. Because you could see that from the kitchen and from the den. You know what I'm saying? Things like that, new light fixtures, little things that don't cost a lot can make a huge, huge difference. Trust me on that. So you know what? They never knew that light was painted when we left there. They never knew. They didn't remember what color that. Now this was not an individual family renting to us. This was a company or a management thing. So you know, we got our deposit back. It was fine. Okay. Yes. Do things in your new town. Get to know it as quickly as you can. As you're unpacking, schedule in breaks and treats, a manicure, a pedicure, whatever. Do that, okay? If I ever move again, I'm definitely going to do that because I just killed myself here. And one of the things about comparing, and when I said everything won't fit in the new house, even if it's bigger, it's just going to be different. It's just going to be different. I've moved to bigger homes and I've moved to smaller homes. So it's always a crapshoot of what's going to fit where, but it always works out. Of course, it always works out. But when we moved from Florida here, we really downsized. By choice, we wanted to. We really wanted to. Well, we went from 2 large walk-in closets for Scott and I in our master bedroom to here there's 1 closet, and it's not as big as mine was. That was just for me. I let that closet get the best of me. I about killed myself. And we'd been here about a month, no, probably about 3 weeks. And I said, I've got to conquer that closet. I've got to figure it out because it's shaped weird. Like you go in and then there's this little bitty turn and it's under the stairs. It's weird. Okay. I went in there one day. I just had it with trying to make that closet work. I took everything out of it and I started over. And you know, in about an hour, I sat in that empty closet, figured it out, and reloaded it and redid it, and it works fabulous for us. It is so, we love our closet, and we knew that was going to be difficult, but it worked. It worked great. So don't overpressure yourself to make things perfect, but don't settle. If something's not working, when you get a chance, revisit it and figure out how you can make it work better. I used to do that in my kids' rooms. Oh my gosh, could I tell you stories about moving? One time, okay, I'll tell you one story. This is just one. One time we were moving. We did move one time to Oklahoma. That was a bad deal. Bad deal. Bad deal. But we moved to Oklahoma, Shawnee, which it wasn't, nothing was wrong with it, but it just was not. It was hot and it was freezing cold, both. We were moving to Shawnee and a friend of ours helped us move. So Scott is, this is when we were younger. Scott's driving the U-Haul, I think. No, I think the furniture had gone on ahead. Scott's in a car. I'm in my car. Scott's in his car. And a friend of ours is in a truck. And he had this long, big trailer, like open trailer, like with the cage on the sides. And he had a whole bunch of our yard equipment and different things. And there was like a broom and a mop. It was horrible. Okay, so we pull up on the drive to Shawnee. We had left Dallas. And we stopped at like a Burger King or something. And this is our stuff, right, in this trailer. And when we were getting back in the caravan that we had created, this man came up and he said, oh, I've got some junk I need hauling too. Do you haul junk? How much do you charge? And Scott looked at that guy and he goes, This isn't junk. This is our good stuff. I mean, it was just, I mean, at the time it was hilarious. Okay, let me see if there's anything else. Okay, something else that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to do a separate video because this one is going to get too long if I continue. A separate video is another requested video that I'll do in a couple of weeks, and that is going to be how to make new friends and how to not be lonely when you move. A lot of different people have asked me that question since I moved to Houston, you know, and because they know I've moved so much, I probably have a few things to say about moving and making new friends and being lonely and just how do you cope? How do you cope with that? So that'll be in a separate video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, that's it. Talk to you later. Bye.